Today I want to talk to you about the case method. It's something, the case method, that we do here in all our teaching, in all our programs, intensively, because we realize how important it is for students to learn how to break down cases in order to then, when they are going to an interview, be able to explain their way of thinking. Now, how do we break down a complex problem into pieces in what we do, for example, in a strategy course? Imagine that we're talking about an airline that's already spread out in a market, in a country. Airline is organized in a certain way, has made certain decisions of being in certain cities, flying from point A to point B, and has a way of treating their customers, maybe with cheap flights or more expensive flights, etc. Now imagine that an airline in that situation has a chance to buy some new slots in an airport where they are not present. And how would we break down that case if you were in charge of making a decision about that investment? There's a fundamental separation in there. That is, first you need to analyze the investment opportunity itself, separate from whatever else the company is doing. Second, you need to analyze the impact of that investment in what else the company is doing, the rest of the strategy of the company. In the first part, all you need to do is being able to calculate the return on investment. We would look at the market, we would look at how many customers we can get, we would look at the cost of getting those slots, and we would calculate the return on investment that you would learn in any basic finance course. Let's say that part is positive. What else do you need to do? Now comes the difficult part. You need to assess the impact of that decision on the rest of the company's flights, the rest of the company's business. For that, you need to understand the business model of the company. What are the 2-3 drivers that are absolutely core to that business model? If you look at the airline business, you realize that one of the key drivers of the airline business is the turnaround time. The time that goes from the moment the plane lands in an airport, unloads the people and the baggage, loads the next people, group and flight, and then takes off again. Because in that time, the company is not making money. So if that time is very long, the company is losing money. If that time is very short, it's the opposite. And say, imagine that company has the best turnaround time in the industry, right? 30 minutes. The rest of the industry is at 1 hour. Now you calculate what is the impact of those 30 minutes of less turnaround time in the profit and loss account of the company. You realize that 2/3 of the profit of that company come from those 30 minutes of turnaround time. So now what are the smart questions to ask about breaking down this case? Saying, if I go into that airport, what is the impact on turnaround time in the rest of my network? Are there delays in that airport? Is that an airport that causes a lot of delays or not? If you're going to an airport with very bad weather conditions, where there are cancellations constantly, where there is constant delays, now you have a problem, because if you go in there, that plane is going to take off late, it's going to arrive to another city late, it's going to increase the turnaround time in that city, and so on and so forth, and all of a sudden you're running a business with 45-minute turnaround time and you've lost 1/3 of your profit just like that. So that would be a way to break down. First, separate the financial part from the strategic part, and then when you get into the strategic part, you understand what are the 2 or 3 drivers of the business model of the company. Those are the ones that you have to protect. That would be a first part of breaking down the case. So why is it so important to learn to break down cases? Because management is about solving complex problems. So we teach the way to break down cases because when you go to an interview, what the person in front of you wants to really know is if you are capable of understanding the scope of that problem and you're able to ask the right questions. That you can use whatever stories and knowledge and previous experiences you've had to get learning points that then can help you address parts of that complex problem.